far as safety goes, I think I mentioned that during the segment, that it's important to go to a public place, meet somewhere
Absolutely, and
public,
that's all
so
about it.
the other person doesn't know where you live necessarily, and imagine too, I didn't have time to add it during the segment, but if you ever felt that you were out with somebody and you felt that they were, say they were following you home or whatever, that you'd want to go to another
go to a friend's
destination, absolutely, just to be on the safe side.
But I think because we deal with professionals, and you know, I mean, it's, and you have, like I said, the personal touch. We know where our clients are going. We know when you're going to be there. So it makes it much nicer and much safer.
It minimizes that chance,
absolutely,
of not being safe, right? Huh. Very interesting. Now, as far as you said, it doesn't have to be just lunch. It could be a brunch, or it could
drinks
be
after
work, or even dinner,
weekend.
I guess, right?
Well, we don't ever push the initial date to be dinner. That's completely up to you. One of the things that what we'll do is we'll have you sit you down at, the host will go and bring you over to like the bar or a table where you have an option at that point. If you guys just want to have a drink, you have a drink, and you can say thank you very much, and you can leave. Otherwise, you can go and sit down at the table. And a lot of the average dates end up, most of my first dates do lead to second dates. I'm very proud to say that. I will pat myself on the back for that.
Okay, well,
so, because we do listen to our clients.
That's great.
Yep.
Wow, that's wonderful. Let's talk just a little bit about how dating has changed over, say, the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah, it definitely
I'm sure you've
has.
got some thoughts on that.
Sure. I do. You know, things have changed. Again, it goes back to kind of the internet. A little bit about the fact that we are capable of getting on the computer and seeing things now and dating through the internet. Personalized matchmaking services like It's Just Lunch are popping up, you know, like with us having.
They weren't here
before. We used to rely upon friends. We would rely upon family members to set us up with people. That obligatory date that you would go out on that you just didn't want to because your brothers, friends, sisters, uncles set you up somewhere. You know, over the years, we have a choice now. Plus, we are networking more. We're getting out in social groups. We're doing a lot more of things where you meet people face to face. Face to face is huge. We forget that there is a human on the other side of this. So we have the ability actually to get out there now and do a lot more social stuff.
More than we ever could before.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're getting a comment here from Winton, and Winton says, I'm 51, and when I dated, I had some horror stories. Since I'm married almost 19 years now, you're probably not interested in that. I know you'd be interested in how I gave my wife to be her engagement ring, but I wouldn't want the FCC to get you guys in trouble. So I don't know, Winton, what that's about, but anyway,
thanks for the comment. No, Winton, that's great. I'm sure if you're still married after 19 years, you must have done a good job. So.
And Franklin is saying, I read some story about gay dating on the rise among seniors, and he thinks that's interesting. And I don't know if you want to comment on that or not, but
I mean, dating is dating. Whether it's women and men, men and men, women and women, dating's dating. It doesn't. You can't discriminate on dating. So it's fun, no matter the way you look at it. As long as you go into it with the open eye that it's fun. It doesn't matter who's dating who. You know, you could be 50, you could be 20.
Right,
you know?
and just have fun. Absolutely. We were talking about how dating has changed over the last 20, 25 years. What about differences between dating when you're in your, say, 30s, 30, 31, 32, versus 50, 51, 52? You know, would you like to comment a little bit on the differences?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you my opinion first.
Okay.
I feel that in some instances, it's easier to work with people in their 50s. Now, and I say that because when we're in our 30s, we all think we know what we want in a relationship. We all have this checklist of everything that we want to be. It could be the fairy tale that we were raised thinking, the Prince Charming riding up on the horse, or, you know, what. But when you get to your 50s, you've already experienced so much more in life. You've experienced, whether it be a long marriage that you had that ended, whether it be through being widowed or through a divorce. And we have both at It's Just Lunch. We have clients that come to us that have been divorced or clients that have, you know, are widowed and they come to us to get out there again. But, you know, by the time you get to 50s, you know what you don't want.
I was just going to say you're more realistic.
Yes.
You've seen more.
And you're not.
You know what you don't want.
You know what you don't want, and it's so much easier to find that person when you know what you're trying to stray away from.
Okay.
And peer pressure doesn't get the best of us, I think, in your 50s as much as it did when you're in your 30s. When you're in your 30s, it's that pressure of, my friend just got married. She just had her first baby. Right. My sister's 2 years younger than me, and she's married.
That's
true. And
yes. No,
so
I would agree with that.
Dating in your 50s, you need to be confident. Right. You've got so much more experience than, a lot of my 30s. And don't get me wrong, I love my 30s clients. Right. I really do. Yes. They're great and they're fun, and we get these great stories, and I'll get an email from somebody saying we're engaged, or the wedding invitations. I mean, we have thousands of marriages and engagements under our belt at It's Just Lunch. So,
well, that's great. We're getting another question here, and this one is from Winton. And Winton says, I did some personal ad dating back in the early 90s, but that was still risky, or even risque back then. Yeah. No internet dating in those days. Both are widely accepted now, which is what we were just talking about. That so much more accepted and more available than it was before.
It's not taboo anymore to do any type of dating like that. Even with, matchmaking companies, me being a matchmaker, you tell somebody that's exciting. We talk about it. It's exciting to talk about. I set people up for a living. I watch people. I hope that I'm going to get the phone call that they're putting themselves on hold to get married or, get engaged, whatever it might be.
Wow, I think that's great. Let's talk just a little bit about what makes dating so difficult these days, especially for people, say, in their 50s or 60s. What are some of the things that make it a little more difficult, more of a challenge?
A challenge, yeah. Well, I think, again, and I hate going back to it, but I think we spend a lot of time at home behind the computer, not doing a lot of face-to-face things, and you don't socialize as much anymore. I think we're just so, how do I put it? We're so in tune with what's going on with the Facebook and the thing. Everybody's in tune with everybody else's life that we get caught into this. We don't get out much anymore. I think one of our other big problems is that what I find at any age is that we forget to check the baggage at the door. When we go out on that first date, nobody wants to hear about your past and your ex and your how much trouble he was or she was, or nobody wants to hear about it. They want to go out and have a good time. Positivity is the one key factor in healthy dating, next to communication. The more you communicate, the best it is.
So stay positive.
Right. Check that baggage at the door.
Check that baggage.
Yeah, check it at the door. Nobody wants to hear it.
Right.
I mean, later on down the road, you're going to have a relationship with somebody. Of course, we're going to talk about it. It's common nature. We talk about our past, but
certainly not
that first date. Oh no,
right? No, that's the last thing you want to do. Is sit down, as you say, talk about all the horror stories that happened to you and all, or poor me kind of thing.
Yeah, the woe's me isn't good at all. At all. No, and I think, unfortunately, the confidence level, I tell every one of my clients, it doesn't matter that you haven't dated in 20 years or 25 years. You're beautiful. There is somebody out there that's going to fit for you. I tell everybody, put a note.
There's somebody out there for
everybody.
Right? And
put a note.
That, right?
I agree.
I think so.
I think there might be a couple of somebodies out there if because if you've been married and divorced or married and widowed, there's that opportunity always. I tell all my clients, put a note on your mirror every morning. I'm beautiful. I feel great. Whether it be because you died and lost weight, take all the positivities that you have going on in your life. Post them, remind yourself of them, because all you're going to do is walk with your head proud, whether man or woman, into that first date and feel confident and know, especially with It's Just Lunch clients, you're sitting across from somebody that already makes sense. So.
Right. Very interesting. Wow. We're getting another question, and that question is, how can I get my divorced parent to date?
Can I tell you, we have a lot of children, teen children, 30s, 40s, that 20s, 30s, 40s that call in, and they actually want to set their parents up, whether it be mothers, fathers. We've gotten a lot of people that bought them for presents, like the service, the membership for their parents.
Right.
The most important thing is do not push either of your parents to be out there dating if they're not ready. You know when you're ready.
Right.
Being proactive and helping them, it's just getting them out, social networking, and pushing them into a dating service maybe isn't always the best thing, but if you feel that they're teetering on them.
I was just going to say, you can kind of sense that.
You can sense
then
it.
It might be a good idea to encourage.
Absolutely. Encourage it. Let them know that you're okay with it, that you're as from a parent to a child or a child to a parent.
They might be reluctant because they think that you're reluctant and they don't want to offend you
Welcome
or
it.
whatever, right?
Yeah. And then have them call It's Just Lunch and I'll talk to them the rest.
And you'll take it from there.
I'll take it from there.
Very
Thank you for your question.
Well, yes, thank you for that question.